Hi guys, my name is Dimitri. I'm from Cape Town. I'm the founder of BPM Collection, and you're watching Analogue Culture.
Hi Dimitri.
How's it?
How you doing, brother?
Good yourself?
I'm alright. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm definitely sure you've seen a couple of our shows.
I have, of course, yes.
Yeah. Generally, the main aim of the show is to try and get information about you.
Sure.
For those people that don't know you, that don't know where you come from, basically just to give the people that listen to your music or your DJing skills on the decks an idea as to who are you in person.
Yes.
So as when they see you, they don't just see a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's what the show is generally about.
Cool.
How's your day today?
Busy, if I must be honest. It's been busy. A few things we didn't prepare for, but all's been sorted out.
Yeah.
But it's been a busy day.
Yeah. So, where were you born?
Cape Town.
Cape Town.
Born and bred Cape Town.
Yeah. Which year?
Which year?
Yeah.
Ooh. Am I giving my age away? 87. Okay. 87. Nah, I'm not shy to say it. I'm 1987. Yeah.
What was the best song in 87?
In 87, geez, I don't know. If I must be honest, I lean extremely hard into a lot of African music.
Yeah.
Kwaito music.
Yeah.
My father's not from Cape Town. He's from Port St. John's. And I do think I picked up a lot of his, I suppose, cultural music.
Yeah.
For lack of better terms, I listened a lot, or most of the time growing up, I was listening to Ladysmith, Black Mambazo. Even today, like these days where I'm like, something's missing, and I put on like a YouTube mix of these or something like that. So if I must be honest, probably like that's really what got me going back in the days, Ladysmith, Black Mambazo.
Yeah. So hence it led you to your love of African music.
100%. I love it.
That's dope. Where about in Cape Town did you grow up?
Cape Town, I suppose they'd call it the Cape Flats.
Yeah.
Born in Portland's Mitchell's Plain.
Okay.
I think I was there till about 3 years old, and again, this is stories that I'm hearing from the parents.
Yeah.
We moved to Strandfontein, and I was there for a majority of my younger years.
Yeah.
From there, I lived a fairly bachelor life, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So I moved around quite a bit, but in the southern suburbs. But currently reside in the southern suburbs. Extremely settled, no bachelor life, and I'm enjoying it, to be honest.
Yeah. So why I'm asking this is generally you'll find that a lot of people and the influence for the music they listen to is majority influenced by where they grow up.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, your love for deep house, where does it come from?
So I come from a very, like I said, I listen to all genres of music.
Yeah.
I used to listen to R&B, hip hop a lot. I still do it nowadays. I haven't really found time to actually enjoy music lately. It's just been busy. But a very good friend of mine, we're probably friends for about 26, 25 years, Ricky Tang, he also plays in Cape Town. He invited me, and he's about 2 or 3 years my senior. He invited me to, I think it's Cape Audio College that used to be around at the time in OBS, and he was studying turntablism at the time, and I think that's when I got hooked. He introduced me to my first deep house song. I think it was called Stepper at the time. And that was probably at the age of about 15 years old.
Yeah.
So for the past 22 years, like it's just been deep house. Like, you know, they say you need that one track, and I was hooked.
Yeah. How come you never got into turntablism?
I don't have equipment. If I must be honest, I don't have equipment. If it's put in front of me, it takes me about 2 or 3 songs just to adjust, but I'm comfortable. I'd love to collect it, but the sport is pricey.
It is.
I've got 2 girls and they're pricey, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. I get it fully. So here you are now doing picking up the love for deep house.
Yes.
What does your career path look like when you decided, right now I love this genre of music and I want to play this genre of music? How do you decide, right now this is how I'm going to go through about it and practicing it and doing it for real? In a sense, was Ricardo did he play a big role in getting you there?
I think he played a big role with the introduction, definitely. We've played at 1 or 2 residencies back in the day where we would both be residencies in a space, I think, which is cool because we both understand each other's music, even though our music is very different from each other. We still...
Yeah, you were telling me about how you got into...
Yeah, you asked, was Ricardo like a pivotal point within the deep house, I suppose, love? Like I said, he's been like, I think, the introduction, yes. We've played at a couple of residencies together. However, I do think like I absolutely fell in love with deep house music, and I'm referring to the Afro sound. I still play a very Afro sound. I know I can't just go into any space and play what I enjoy because I don't think a lot of people will understand it unless I'm in the right setting. And I used to play at the balcony sessions. Reno, he owns a nightclub in Cape Town. He gave me my first opportunity to actually play for a crowd at a nightclub, and he used to host the balcony sessions back in the day. And I met a good friend of mine, Teramo, and he said, "Dude, what you doing after your set?" It was on a Sunday. And I said, "Nothing." It was bachelor life for me at the time. I was single. And I said, "Nothing." He said, "Come with me. I'll take you to Googs. We're going to go to KTC."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, KTC, Googs, I've never been. It's 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. People normally say when you go to Mzoli's, leave when the sun goes down." And I was like, you know what? I'm with him. I know I'm safe. Let's go. And they had hundreds there. It was, I suppose, every DJ in their career, they go through various stages, the hundreds that they have, and I say thank you today for them having the kind of equipment that they had. And it wasn't the greatest, but everybody that got on the decks like brought the best. Like even with faulty equipment, like you wouldn't say that the guys were doing what they did. And I think that for me was like a pivotal moment within my DJ career where I'm like, yo, look what these guys are doing, like with bare minimum stuff. And the energy that you get from the crowd is completely different. You can see they're like 100% immersed in the sound and what the DJs are delivering, and like you really need to show up.
Yeah.
You can't be making mistakes and stuff like that, because it's not just your DJ buddies looking at you, it is everybody looking at you. And I think honestly that's where I fell in love with the Afro sound of deep house. If you're wanting to take it back to a pivotal point of where the journey actually started.
Yeah,
that was when I played in KTC. Lost a bit of direction, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never lost drive, I've always had drive, but I don't think I had real direction. Partied, DJ'd wherever just to get a booking and stuff like that. And then I met my wife. I know it sounds long-winded, but I'm just giving you the backstory so you can understand the future.
Yeah.
And she gave me 1 or 2 things to think about, and just in terms of not just life, but like where do I actually see myself. Took a break from music for about 7 years, and I think the past 2.5 years, I came back with a lot more direction. The drive, like I said, has always been there. I don't necessarily see myself, and this could be a this could be a shooting myself in the foot moment, or it could be a okay, cool, this is actually what this guy is about. But I've never seen myself as a limelight with security around me, going to gigs and stuff like that, because it's just not what I'm about. I'm all about loving music. There's a track that I love playing sometimes during my sets. I'm not a DJ, I'm just in love with house, and that is 100% how I feel. I love house music, I love all genres of house music, and I'm still on the journey. Like, I'm still learning. The sound in Cape Town has changed a lot. A lot of people tell me I have a Joburg sound. I don't necessarily think I have a Joburg sound. I just think they think I have a Joburg sound because I play a lot more Afro than what Cape Town guys maybe play. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm learning. I'm not trying to offend anybody. But I'm still on a journey where I'm just like I just love music. I don't know if that answers the question. Like, I'm still on the journey. It's still very hard for me to decide. Okay, cool. I'm here. This is what I'm doing. Because I'm still growing from here. Like 100% still growing.
Yeah. What tracks do you still remember that you were playing in KTC?
Ooh, so KTC sound and this day and age, the deep house sound for me is different because I do think I've become a lot more refined. That was still when we were doing 125, 126 BPM.
Yeah.
So it was a very hard Afro-y with dancing kind of sweaty music. And I used to play a lot of Zakes. Like, I'm still a firm believer in Zakes. Like, I think my last gig was I played a Zakes track. So it's definitely not a lot of tracks I play today. But try my music. There's some music from him back in the day. Monopoly. There's a lot of music. That resonates with me from that time. That if I play today in a certain setting, people think like, "Hey, where's this new song come from?" I'm like, "Guys, no, this is
an old one.
This is old school." Yeah. It's just that I've changed the tempo a little bit just to make it sound a little bit different. But yeah, I'm not doing the sweaty music anymore, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I can't keep up, to be honest.
You know, you just touched on something that's it's been a curious thought in my head. If you listen to, okay, nowadays they call it, what do they call it? Deep House Light, I think is the term being used. Yeah, I've heard the term go around, yeah. Do you think there's any difference in the sound that's coming from overseas in our local? Wait, there is a difference, but
yeah.
Do you think quality-wise, in terms of what we play in events and in gigs, does it have the same quality for you?
So I just want to understand the question. Are you referring to what is played internationally compared to what is played locally?
If I were to say to you,
yes,
let's take at jazz.
Yeah.
Do you have a South African artist who does that for you? Because I know that there's no DJ that doesn't buy a jazz track.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. Sometimes you really have to look for tracks, and sometimes I don't even think the producer knows how effective the track is, and it's 100% up to what the DJ wants to present himself as.
Yeah.
So if we listen to, I'm just trying to think of a name off the top of my head that has that kind of sound. I can't. Sometimes people ask me, dude, who's this that you're playing? What track is this?
Yeah.
And it's something that I've maybe stumbled across like a week ago, and I don't know who it is, but they have that same kind of feel. So you'll maybe find that Black Motion, for example, they've got their core sound in their album, and then there's this one track that's got this jazz maybe kind of feel, and that's the track that maybe resonates with you. So I can't say I've got my favorite artist, no, but I do think the SA quality of music it's very different to the world.
Yeah.
I do think the world is latching onto our sound where they wanting to incorporate a very indigenous Afro kind of sound to make it work for their crowds, because our guys are getting booked, and ladies are getting booked to play in Europe. They're doing tours all over the world, and what you're seeing is like thousands of people getting down to like our tracks where we know we can literally go to on a Friday night to town, Bree Street, wherever the case may be, and we can find Ndo-C playing the track there.
Yeah.
So I do think our sound is the world has latched onto our sound, and the quality of our artists or our producer at the moment is amazing. It's amazing. I don't have one favorite. I really don't.
You don't?
I don't.
I know who's your favorite.
Who?
Chima.
He's my boy. I'm not gonna lie. He's my boy. There's some amazing stuff that he does. But not just that. We spoke earlier on, and I do believe it's also a relationship. The more you engage with somebody on a personal level, the more you kind of understand what they're doing with their sound, the more you tend to appreciate their sound. And he's super humble. I ask him sometimes for pointers and stuff like that. So he's never too shy to give some insight to something that he might have more knowledge about, and you don't. So I think that's also why I really enjoy his music, because I understand like this is a humble person that is actually doing this. Like, yeah.
Do you dabble in other genres besides deep house?
I'm not gonna lie. There's some amapiano tracks here that is bangers. There's like some bangers out there. There's some really good tracks where you don't know, is this deep house, is this amapiano? I don't know, but I know it gets down when you're rocking it. So yes, I do think it's very important for DJs, for artists to dabble in other kinds of music, because it would just broaden the spectrum of what you're able to mix when playing, depending on what time you're playing. So I do think it's important. There's some deep house tracks that's got a very hip hop kind of undertone to it. So I do think it's important. And again, up until today, I still listen to quieter music. I listen to the 3-step sound as well. Not as much, I'm not gonna lie. It hasn't really got me, if that makes sense, but I do know there's a massive following behind it, as well as Gom. I don't do Gom as well, but I do know it's massive in the world. It's not just a Cape Town or Joburg thing or an SA thing. So yeah, I 100%. I listen to any genre of music. Like I think it's very important.
I know a couple of years back, can't really remember how long ago, there was a club in France that was literally dedicated to Gom. And they ended up going vinyl on it.
Oh, wow.
Like releasing a bunch of vinyls on the music there. And it was such a great and refreshing thing to happen, to know that there's South African music that's actually doing that kind of circulation. And it kind of spilled over into the deep house space, where now you find that a lot of our dudes are literally pressing the vinyls. I wanted to give you an artist. I don't know if you know who Kula Fair is.
I'm gonna be lying to you. If you say off the top of my head, do you know the artist? I'm gonna say no. I'm sure if I listen to a track, I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. I know you're talking about.
Yeah. You're gonna go check some of the tracks that we used to drop, 2010, 2009. The sounds that were being played there between Kailicha, KTC, Gooks, everywhere. You'll find his name amongst those the tracks. He used to do some broken beat stuff.
Okay.
Over time.
And I was about to say now, and that's when I found out about broken beats. Like I didn't know about it before. And then I used to go to KTC. Like, can I be honest with you? Like, I used to go in there sometimes like 9 o'clock on a Sunday. And leave there 3 o'clock on the Monday morning. And it's not the partying aspect that I fell in love with. Like everybody is so immersed in it, and I learned a lot from those guys. Up until today, I would still pop in there, not to go and play, but I still know a couple of guys in the area, so I'd pop around. Obviously, a lot of people have families and stuff now, but I still pop around. Hey, how's it going? And that's where I learned the broken beat from, where I was like, oh, okay, like this is different.
So he's one of the guys that used to do broken beats back in the day with a couple of other artists. And I just actually bought a vinyl now. One of the reasons why I'm explaining this is the question I was asking you pertaining to international sound and local sound. As I've found artists that literally are of high quality when it comes to music. June Jazz now is also releasing on vinyl. He's doing some high quality stuff.
He's doing some amazing stuff.
Griffith Malo. There's Cool Affair. There's sculptured music. Like there's a bunch of Owens that are doing very high quality stuff. Like you were saying, they're being booked overseas.
Yeah.
They're playing overseas, and it's like the deep house that is being pushed in the country, and it's just beautiful to witness.
No, 100%.
Yeah, man. You're DJing. You relinquish the bachelor life.
Yeah.
You do other stuff that promulgate your life forward. How and when did you get into fashion?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know when. I don't know when I really started enjoying it. I'm not a name brand person or a label person. I'm not a flashy person. I've got a very strong sales background, and it was very much to do with the corporate side of fashion. So we've got corporate clothing, then we've got fashion clothing.
Yeah.
And I was the corporate side of things. And when I got back into music or the DJ space, like I said, about two and a half years ago, almost 3 years ago, I saw some guys, various brands and stuff. They had their own T-shirts and stuff like that. And I up until today, like I still look at quality of garments, T-shirts and stuff like that. And I think it's definitely because of my work experience.
Yeah.
And then I was like, ooh, this is interesting. And I think for about maybe less than a year, I kept thinking like, I need to do something different. I need to do something different. And I had Vitamin Deep at the time. Hosted 1 or 2 parties, not as successful as I wanted it to be. Even though people were like, dude, this is successful, but I think I got lost in wanting to have a good event.
Yeah.
And the strengthening of the brand wasn't fulfilled. That's why I haven't had another. I think the last one that I had was last year November.
Okay.
But only because I wasn't happy with it, because it's not what I want the brand to portray. I'm not Vitamin Deep, firstly. A lot of people think I'm Vitamin Deep. No, I'm not. Vitamin Deep is supposed to be a vernacular, deep house, apparel, fashionable brand that speaks to all genres or sub-genres of music. So Vitamin Deep is like your daily dose of deep house. And I had to take a step back and understand, okay, cool, how am I going to do this? Because I need to now build a brand instead of the event. The event was only supposed to be used as a sales strategy or a marketing tool to grow the brand. Okay. But not the event to actually generate funds, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then I kept looking around and I was like, ooh, this looks nice, that looks nice. And it felt like an epiphany. I know, as cliche as that sounds, it felt like an epiphany where I just really started dressing a little bit differently. I'm getting older also, so I have to keep up with the times, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I started dressing a little bit differently. I started looking at quality over brand differently. And when I say brand, I'm talking about the mainstream brands that's out there, because I know a lot of mainstream brands where the quality is not great, but you're literally just purchasing over the name.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what got me into fashion.
Yeah.
1 or 2 years later, popping in at different venues, met a lot of people. And what's weird is I spoke to one of our peers recently, and I said like the deep house community, the DJs and stuff like that, the producers, like they've 100% become like almost like family to me. Like if there's something that I'm not certain of, which is 99% of the time, it's within the music space. These are the people that I'm leaning on, and I needed to do something different. something that would really add value to what they're doing, because I love what Cape Town is doing in terms of inclusiveness of all DJs. And again, I speak under correction, and my apologies if I'm offending anyone, but I don't think everyone was as inclusive as they are now. There's always space for growth. There's always room for growth, constructive growth, obviously. But how do I add value to this where I don't really want to be competition? And that is how BPM Collection came to me. Beats per minute, it speaks to vernacular to all of us, because that's what we understand within the music space. And the collection is a collective group of brands that is wanting to do apparel to strengthen their brands. And that is how the concept of BPM Collection was, I suppose, created. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. It wasn't an overnight thing where I was like, hey, I need to make money, what can I do? No. Even like now, using your strength, which is sales and marketing, because I come from that space, I understand it well. I'd like to think I execute it well. But when you're using your skill within a established infrastructure, it's way easier. Because there's an established infrastructure. This infrastructure we're building from the ground up, and we're 100% dependent on each other to make it work. So there's a lot of aspects to it, but for me, when I see the guys with the garments and they're happy with it, then I'm like, we're doing something right here. Again, this has absolutely nothing to do with a financial benefit for me at the moment. It doesn't, because everything that BPM Collection does, it goes 100% back into the brands again. So we've had a soft launch recently. I haven't really been pushing gigs, because this is what I've been focusing on, with about 8 brands. That has been like my primary focus for the past 3 months, maybe 2.5 to 3 months. So we're getting there slowly but surely. There's a lot of hurdles. That I didn't prepare for. It's a new space. It's a new avenue. Like I haven't been down my own fashion business before. I haven't. So there's a lot of hurdles that we're still trying to manage, and the teething process has been tedious. But we're getting there slowly but surely.
I would know how this whole thing started, but for the people that are going to be watching this, so the concept started with you having to take the idea from going to events and saying you want to build a brand that can be worn at events, created locally, worn by locals, DJs. Then it moved over to you saying, let's go and do a storefront whereby I can include all the other artists that have got clothing items that they want to sell. And it led you to...
And this doesn't necessarily mean... or the store is not necessarily for established artists that have clothing brands out there. It's for somebody that comes in, they feel that they want to be in the market. We also need to be realistic about it, because yes, this doesn't now financially benefit me at all. It's all about wanting to build the brands, and 99% of the brands is Cape Town based brands. We are fortunate to have a really strong player on the team at the moment, which we're working with, that's up in Joburg. But I lose my train of thought, sorry. My mind's running. I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to say too much.
There's nothing as too much in terms of giving us knowledge in terms of... Right now, you're dropping knowledge on BPM Collection. BPM Collection is your store. It is your baby. It is a company that you started that is meant to incorporate all the apparel that is created by DJs, or the merchandise that's created by DJs. And you're putting it into garment format and actually pushing it to the clients. So I mean, literally, everybody wants to know which clients you're working with, who are the artists that you're working with, and things like where do they find the garments? Because literally, what we're doing is, me and you currently are playing a part in a big space.
Yeah.
We're introducing DJs that are Cape Town based to the world.
Yes.
To South Africa. You're introducing their merchandise.
Yes.
And making it accessible to the people that follow them.
Yes.
It's we're playing.
It's a daunting task.
It's
scary at times. It is scary. So the brands that we're currently working with, or that is open, or that have said cool, we're on board, is Analogue Culture. We've got Deep Down Sundays. We've got Kaapstad Kings, which dabbles a lot within the Amapiano space. I do think it's important also to be inclusive, hence having Kaapstad Kings with us as well.
Yeah.
Which consists of Malou and Jared, and they do their own productions as well. Then we've got Intimate. That's within our space. It's Vitamin Deep, obviously, which is my baby that I've been trying to nurture for a while now. Then we've got Deepa South Africa. We've got AFR, and we've got that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Yes.
Yeah. How has it been being able to navigate within this space, knowing that there's literally you're going to be competing with TFG Group, you're going to be competing with Gucci stores, you're going to be competing with very big people, big stores. I'm mentioning those brands because I literally know that there's people that wear those brands.
Yeah.
Out there. You're competing with them. How does that look like to you?
It's, if I must be honest, like I don't, and I'm not trying to be naive nor cocky about it.
Yeah.
These are dominating brands within the apparel space or the fashion space.
Yeah.
They all started somewhere.
Definitely.
They all started somewhere. And all it took was, I suppose, consistency.
Yeah.
And belief of the brands that's within the TFG group, because it's not just the TFG group. If you go to the TFG store, we've got different brands that's within that space where they market and sell those products. So it's 100% how the individual brands want to present themselves.
Yeah.
How I want to present the brands, or not me, but BPM Collection wants to present the brands within the store, and also the caliber and loyalty of their patrons. We can't expect to sell thousands of garments if a particular brand is not actively marketing themselves outside of a store that is marketing them. And I'm going to use Woolies for an example. Woolies has Palmalot and they've got Clover in there. Whoever out of Palmalot or Clover does their own strategic sales and marketing planning and activations and stuff like that is ultimately going to be the strongest brand that's going to be selling within a Woolies store.
True.
So it does also mean, okay, cool, now your clothing's in a store, don't kick back. Like, this is actually where you need to put in the work and like market your clothing so that there's a central point for people to come and purchase this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that BPM Collection has taken upon themselves to kind of absorb, just to make the transactions a little bit more streamlined for the brand. But it's been busy. Been busy. I haven't been pushing gigs at all. Like I said, 8 brands these are the people that I'm kind of focused on at the moment. And it's been good. There's been some really frustrating times. Quality is not looking great. I'm lying. Actually, like, the quality is good. The quality is good. The quality is good. Like, it's taken me a while to find decent quality, but the quality is good.
Yeah.
Some of the branding, depending on which brand I'm working, it's a little bit more intricate than others. So finding the right branding partner has been a bit of a challenge. And there's other variables to it that does make it difficult, but I'm still very excited about it. It's not something that I intend of tapping off slowly or tapping off from anytime soon. Like you mentioned earlier on, I do think it's a very important, however very delicate time or space for the brands to be within as well, because it could really be the make or break of them, and not necessarily the make or break of the event, but strengthening of the brand. And that is 100% what I'm wanting to do. It's not just put them in a space where they were already put them in, which is the music, DJing, entertainment space. This is now then allowing a brand to have a secondary income for that specific brand. We don't have to wait till the 1st of December when we're having an event to generate funds. This could be a passive kind of income that allows them funds prior and post event.
It's been a dope concept since you conceptualized it and you were speaking about it. Now we're seeing it come into fruition and it's existing within the space. Are you looking at opening a physical store at any time soon?
A physical store is definitely on the cards. I did mention about 2 months ago when I think it was in August. I think it was in August when I mentioned within 6 months. So we're still getting there. We're still getting there. So Feb for me is the cut-off time. Feb is my birthday month also. So this is like kind of wanting for me. I'm pushing to get my present is the store, is the physical store. But at the moment we've got an online platform available. Obviously, people can purchase directly from the specific brand or the respective brand that they want to. However, we do have a central point for people to access or patrons to access all 8 brands.
Where do you see BPM Collection in? Before I get to that, are you going to take on more brands to push through the store?
I don't think so. 8 is really where I think I'm comfortable with. The last thing I want to do is to create excitement around it, take on a lot of brands, and I can't manage all the brands. So I do think, and technically speaking, it's 7 because Vitamin Deep is within the 8. Vitamin Deep is not. It doesn't have priority over the other brands because that's my baby. You know what I mean? So that Vitamin Deep is my baby. So the priority is definitely with the other brands at first. But yes, I definitely see myself having a store. Well, not myself, but BPM Collection having a store. There is 1 or 2 people that I'd like to bring on board that I feel will strengthen the opportunity to grow the other brands, and not just BPM Collection, because I think even when I had the presentation with everybody, I didn't really speak about BPM Collection. BPM Collection needs to be a mechanism for other brands to make use of to strengthen their brands. So I'm still 100% in line with wanting to strengthen the other brands first.
For anybody listening out there, here's the man to give tenders to. Government funding. Have you actually looked into that, by the way, to say can you find government funding to literally grow?
I haven't, and look, this is an interview. I suppose I can be honest. I haven't. I just haven't. It might be something as plain as I'm too lazy to want to venture into that because I know it's consuming, and I just don't have the capacity for that kind of venture at the moment. Because tenderpreneuring is a completely different business. And I just don't think I have the capacity at the moment. I have reached out to 1 or 2 private entities that I'm hoping to get on board. One is kind of like 60% there. The other, I don't think it's going to go anywhere, if I must be honest. But it's not. I don't think I would go into pushing for government funding just yet.
Yeah.
It's not something also that I'm shying away from completely, but I do know it is, like I said, that is a completely different project in its own, and I don't know if I have the capacity for it.
Yeah, I think you're underplaying this concept. From where I sit, BPM collection is something that's very, very big. It's you taking the culture of music, the music we love, and taking it to the people, in garment format, in physical format. So as opposed to somebody just knowing an artist's name, they can literally say, I've got an item.
They got something tangible.
Yeah. You know, back in the days, people would take their vinyls and get them signed by the artist themselves. Yeah. This is something whereby if somebody has a garment that's vitamin deep and you're playing in an event in Limpopo, for example, and somebody brings a t-shirt and says, sign this.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So what you're doing is literally bigger than what you see it. And I think all the funding that you can possibly find would let you open up stores right across the country and maybe even overseas, you know, to push local brands. You're doing the Lord's work. You're doing the Lord's work. Because literally, a lot of people don't have access to that.
Yeah.
To say, how do I get my t-shirts at Woolworths?
Yeah.
Right? You're giving them that. Mm-hmm. You're saying, here's BPM collection stores. Put your stuff on there. Let's sell it to the public.
And it's difficult to find a locally manufactured garment with really good quality.
Yeah.
Because to a certain degree, because I still don't know it all. There's still a lot of aspects of the fashion industry that I don't know, that I'm kind of immersing myself into so that I can understand sooner rather than later. But it's very difficult to find a local product at a good price, and a quality product as well.
Yeah.
And I know with just the tees that I've got at the moment that I'm being supplying the guys, like the quality is really good.
It
like
is.
They can't come back. I know that nobody can come back to me and say like, listen, dude, like this is bad.
Yeah.
It's not. No. I know it's not.
we know, even the clients know it's not. They've actually they appreciate the quality. Cool. Because somebody was telling me that from the pictures that were posted, it actually is what I saw there.
Is it? Oh, wow.
So what I saw,
cool. That's good to hear.
And what I thought that was, this is what I'm going to get. This is what I actually got.
Oh, wow. That's really great to hear. That's really great to hear.
Like, there's been great feedback.
Okay.
So hence why I'm saying that what you're doing is literally enhancing one person's brand more than you could ever imagine. You are doing the Lord's work.
Cool.
Yeah. Where do you see? Hang on. I think it was a week ago. You played Gin and Tonic.
Sunday. Yeah.
Sunday. How was that experience? Particularly being an experience whereby you're on the same lineup as Vinny. For me, that's always been a big thing.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I still become starstruck. And I'll take it back to Tim. Like I listen to his music all the time. Like there's really stuff that I enjoy, and I'm meeting for the first time. I'm like, I told him, I said, dude, look here, if I hang around you too much tonight, like I'm sorry, I'm a little bit starstruck. Eh?
Yeah.
And it's and for me it's a big thing. Like to be on the same lineup. Yes, you're an opening act for these DJs, or these producers or artists, you're an opening act for them, because that's ultimately what you are. You're warming up the crowd for them. Not that they need any warming up, because they can play a 6-hour set, like they'll be fine. But to be considered to be on a lineup where there's a Vinny or a artist or producer of that kind of status, even though a very humble guy, for me, like I feel overwhelmed sometimes. I'm very, like some of my friends will tell me, like not friends, but I mean some people I know, like for years, they'll tell me, dude, why being so emo? It's like I'm not emo. Like I'm like, I really feel like I'm very much in touch with the world and emotion and spiritual energy and stuff like that. And I know it sounds out there, but for me it's overwhelming at times, where I'm like, yo, like okay, because you don't sometimes see yourself in that light. Where you're like, no, I can be an opening act for Vinny or Ndo-C or whoever the case may be that you feel is got a higher status than you.
Hey, why am I on that list?
Look here, I've had that conversation with you before we became peers and friends, and I'd like to think today I can say you're my friend. You're not a peer to me today anymore.
Definitely.
Like you're 100% one of the people that I used to look up to. I still look up to you now. Like I would ask you for advice sometimes, and if I must be honest, like you shoved me in the get BPM collection going kind of direction as well. so definitely, like yeah. It feels cool. It feels cool to be on that kind of lineup. It definitely does.
I've got a hit list for interviews, right? Fresh is one of them.
Yeah.
Glenn Lewis is one of them.
Definitely.
Christus is one of them. Because I think they got stories that in 10 years' time when they do an interview of you, you're going to have those kind of stories, you know? So I got a hit list of mine. What's your hit list to say, I'd like to open for that guy, that guy, that guy? Like your hit list on the DJ's list. Or producer's list in this case.
Who would I like to open up for? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge Zakes fan, eh?
Yeah.
I'm a massive Zakes fan. I think his sound is, I think something Zakes never lost over the years is he's got a very indigenous sound.
Yeah.
Like he's got a very Afro deep rooted sound, and I think that's what I love. Chama music. There's a lot of old music that I still listen to today where I'm like, can't you produce something like that again, please? You know what I mean? Definitely. Sex, Chama music. And this is no disrespect to anybody that's out there and that's got status today. It's just where my love of deep house comes from. Glenn Lewis, I'd love to open for that man. I'd love to. Just let me warm up on vinyl first before he gets in. But yeah, that's probably my top 3 for now. Again, it's very difficult for me to say, okay, cool, this is number 1. Because they bring various aspects of what I love within deep house music. But for now, if there is anybody that I should mention, Zakes, Glenn Lewis, Chima music, the Capo,
I'm actually in love with the stuff Da Capo is doing as Aquatone.
Look here, come on. There's some tracks that I drop, I'm like, hey, who's this? And then I need to go check the name again.
I can attest to that guy's stuff as Aquatone. It's on another level.
Nothing nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sorry, nothing nice. There's some hot cats out there. Eh? I'm not gonna lie to you. There's some really hot cats out there.
Events. Same list on events.
Who do I book?
No. Which ones do you want to see yourself killing? Like, which ones are on your hit list?
So there's one event that I want to do. That's in Josie. I'm going to start there because I'd like us to remember the Cape Town ones. So I'll end with the Cape Town ones. But Josie, I'd love to do Deep Down Josie.
Okay.
I'd love to do Deep Down Josie. I love what Byron's doing with that space. And it looks really cool. The lineup that he has, it's always hot. Like you're like, who do you book first? Like, because you're like, who's the headliner? You're all headliners here. You know what I mean? So definitely Deep Down Josie. In Joburg, that is definitely something that I want to do. But I do know with that, because I've had a conversation with him before, the metrics around just getting booked for that is like they're very strict with what they do, but it makes sense from a business aspect. But it also makes sense because they wouldn't be this successful if they weren't following their metrics or their structure. Cape Town, I'd love to do a Garden Groove.
Okay.
I think what Winnie and TRB them are doing it's amazing. They've got a really good culture. I'd love to do Intimate, but I know their team's also got a very structured SOP in terms of who they want to book.
Yeah.
And they're very inclusive of everyone. Like, they don't stick to a specific genre, but they've got a very specific sound about their event.
Yeah.
The Loft, I'd love to play at the Loft.
Yeah.
I think if top three, that's probably where I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm satisfied now.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied now, to be honest. Yeah.
That what you just mentioned now raises a bunch of questions in me.
Yeah.
One of them is, what do you think should be the standard rotation of a DJ in these events?
What do I think?
It should be a standard rotation of DJs in these events.
And I'm going to ask you again, just so that I can make sure I'm answering your question correctly. When you say rotation of DJs, are you talking about the frequency the DJs are playing at the events?
Yes. With the amount of DJs that you know in Cape Town.
There's a lot of DJs in Cape Town, eh?
Yeah.
The network that I've been exposed to, that I kind of move in, I think they're being spread. They're being spread okay for now.
Okay.
I think they've been spread okay for now, but I also think the frequency that they get booked at the various events is because I know if I go to a Garden Grove and there's another deep house party coming up next week, the chances of me seeing 30 to 40% of the patrons there, they're going to be there as well.
Yeah.
So I do think they're spreading it evenly for now. I think the frequency is okay. There is some people that will be like, nah, it's the same DJs here and there. But the thing is, we also need to look at it not just from a patron side of things. Ultimately, the brands and the events, this is their business. So if something is not broken, why fix it?
Okay.
If you know that this lineup is going to bring in X amount of people, which is going to make you X amount of money, and your objective is monetary, why change it?
Yeah, I hear you.
If we really want to be fair about it, because hosting an event costs money.
A lot of it.
It costs money, so the least you want to do is at least break even if you're not making money.
Yeah.
So if your algorithm or if your methodology around having your DJs in certain lineups is working for you, why change it if you know that you're at least recouping what you've invested?
Yeah.
Because it's a business.
I hear you. Then comes the question that what do we do with all the new talent that comes in the game? If we're saying we're looking at, let's keep the business model functioning as it is, because it's functioning, right? And it's creating that. Literally, you're quite right. It's a business that brings in bread to different households. And some people literally rely on
they rely on that, yes.
Yeah, to say we're bringing in money. Now, what do we do with all the up and coming or the new talent that comes in? Because I can't say it's up and coming. Like everybody, I was saying this yesterday. In South Africa, everybody loves music. And everybody wants to express their love for music through the decks for people.
Yeah.
It's what I've noticed that we're getting a lot of people coming into the DJing space, like professionals, people that were influencers turned DJs, people that were something else and turned DJs.
Yeah.
They want to express their love for the music and share it with the crowd.
Yeah.
Right? Now, how do we then act on that group to say, here's the new talent coming in, they also want to be in this particular space, but in that particular space it's literally the space whereby there's certain people that are eating or that's bringing bread to certain tables in certain households, and literally while doing that they're giving jobs to other people.
It's a difficult one, because I'm sure we've heard about gatekeeping and things like that. I don't necessarily believe in these gatekeepers, if I must be honest. you don't just give away tricks of the trade.
Can I just save you there on that statement? You're quite right. There's no gatekeepers. It's exactly how you just laid it out. That for some people, it's formulas that work and that bring in bread.
It's formulas that work.
So it's not gatekeeping. It's saying, dude, you want to come and play in this space. You're coming with 5 people. I can't look over a guy who's going to bring 20,000 people for 5 people. So let me.
Yeah, there's. I really don't think there's gatekeeping. It's formulas that work.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I've come to realize because there's been times where I'm like, I know I'm not that bad. Why is this person getting booked and I'm not getting booked?
Yeah.
Like I know like my skill level is better, and it's not just. I know it's like maybe you're extremely confident. Like I know my skill level is better. Then why is this person getting booked and I'm not getting booked?
Yeah.
But it's 100% how you put yourself out there, how you present yourself publicly. There's a lot of factors that builds up to a booking. It's not just I'm a good DJ. Like I know a lot of bedroom DJs that is amazing. Where I'm like, what am I gonna do after this guy plays? Because he's gonna freaking bring the heat here,
Yeah.
But it's 100% how you put yourself out there. And like I said, I don't believe in the whole gatekeeping thing. Everyone's worked extremely hard, especially within the music and event space, to get to where they want to be, and they're not gonna just share trade secrets with everybody.
Yeah.
And this again for me is what comes back to relationships. It's pointless having to know all these people, but you don't know them. Like I know you for now you play this kind of music. It's not a relationship.
No.
You know what I mean? So there needs to be a little bit more intimate moments where you can chat and talk outside of the music space, maybe, just to have a better feel and objective of the actual person and what they're trying to present within the music and their career. And I do think the relationship is what gets artists further than their actual talent.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to knock anyone that's good, that's been struggling, because I'm not saying I'm good or I'm great, but I know what it's like to like not be booked and feel like you're worthy of being booked.
Yeah. I hear you. I think it's one of the conversations that we're truly not having out in public. We're having it in private spaces, whereby
because it's sensitive. You don't want to mention people's names because everyone knows everyone. You don't want to mention people's names. It's a very sensitive topic. The music space people is very sensitive as well, because they're very passionate about what they're doing, so they also don't want to be seen or heard of in a bad light. So it is very sensitive, but I do think once you get over the hurdle of building the relationship with somebody, they 100% understand you, not just on a peer level but a little bit more intimate than that, the uneasiness about the conversation is out the door, because you understand, like, listen, that's not actually his train of thought, bro. Like, that's not what he's about.
It's a very interesting topic, and I think it needs to be engaged more, because there was somebody who had mentioned that it would be better if we were to let everybody host their own events. And I was like, do you think we have enough people to spread in the deep house community, to say we've got 200 deep house events in one day? Like, it would
be so watered down. And that's the reason why I'm reluctant, not reluctant, but that's one of the reasons why I've held back on hosting another Vitamin Deep event, because there's a lot that's happening. Like, and not just that, like, are supposed to be quiet months of the year. It's raining, freaking people are still out grooving. Where we've had some of the busiest weekends within winter. I don't even know what our summer is going to look like, to be honest. So why you can't say why saturate the market, because there's always room for growth. Some events will come in, some events will stop. So there'll always be repetitive opportunities for events to come in, but 200 events, never mind one day, one weekend. Too much.
It's too much.
Who are you gonna book?
Exactly.
Who are you gonna book?
It's too much.
Yeah.
All right, Dims. Where should we catch you? What should we look out for from BPM Collection? And where do we catch you on socials?
Socials, deep_Dimitri. That is TikTok, which I've started recently.
Okay.
I think it's very important. Everyone is not doing it. Do it. TikTok, Deep Dimitri. Insta, same handle, deep_Dimitri. Facebook, Dimitri Stapelfeldt. That's my name. For the clothing, bpmcollection.online, which should take you to the store, and you could be able to navigate around the various brands that's within there. And tomorrow night I'm in Muizenberg. I understand we're having our first Thursdays in Muizenberg.
It's actually the second one.
It's the second one. Okay, it's my first invitation then. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that as well.
All right, brother. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
To the show.
Thank you very much.
And I'd really like to say I see what you're doing for the culture itself. I hope God gives you the strength to make sure
Thank you. I appreciate it.
With what you're doing, it becomes the success that I see currently. And you can hand it over to your girls and they can carry it forward for their generation and generations to come. I think what you started is something very big, and it's very great for the deep house community. I don't think across South Africa I've seen anything of that nature where one person takes all the brands and puts them under one roof and say, let's push everybody's brand as one. And I think it's the greatest thing I've seen so far in the industry. I wish you luck on that.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming through to the show.
Thank you.
Looking forward to having an update in future about how the store is going and everything else.
Sure.
Everybody who's tuning in, thank you very much for tuning in again. This is DJ Ndo-C on Analogue Culture, #PA. Woo!